back when I was a kid in the early 2000s, everything on the internet loaded really, really slowly. Like you would sometimes have to wait like half an hour to like wait for something to load, and you have to like do something else while it's loading. So like there is not really any such thing as watching videos on the internet. I mean, there kind of was, but what we had instead was something called Flash Player, which was something that you could download that would let you play low file size animations in games created specifically for the internet using an authoring tool called Macromedia Flash. And eventually internet speeds got faster and we could download big files really quickly, so we didn't need Flash as a technology anymore. But because Flash Player was on everyone's computers, and like people like me got good at using Flash, the software, Flash didn't die right away when, it kind of got antiquated by like YouTube or Steam. But now it's pretty much dead. But something that was cool about Flash was that like everything that was made in Flash like looked like it was made in Flash. Like all the art was like vector art, meaning it was like made out of like math formulas. And that's how the files were small enough that they could be passed around on the early internet. So most stuff that was made in Flash actually looked like kind of shitty, because you had to like get good at it to know how to like make something that like looked good. And every once in a while, like someone in the scene of people on the internet like making Flash stuff, someone would like discover some like new trick, like some new technique where you could exploit the tools in Flash to create like some new weird aesthetic effect. And then like all the cutting edge Flash artists would like hear about this new thing and then learn the new trick, and that would just be like another thing that they had, in their toolbox for making movies and games on the internet. And something that's kind of tragic is that I still use Flash for my job. Like you can still export stuff out of Flash, and it's what my boss is familiar with, so it's what we use. And because I still use Flash, every once in a while I'll find a new thing. And that's what this is. So, like, this is a new thing that I figured out how to do, and, like, whenever I find something new, it's just like, oh, man, I wish I knew about this 15 years ago when, like, the discovery of this new thing actually would have been, like, relevant to a lot of people. Like, I found this one thing a couple years ago. Like, one of the old tricks that everyone knew about was something they called line boiling, where you would take one drawing and then on the next frame you would smooth out the drawing, and then you like make another frame and smooth it again, and then you like run a loop of the drawing getting smoothed out, and it creates like this shimmery effect on like a static object. So that was like one of those things that like just everyone knew about, like someone found out about it and then they told everyone else, right? But then in like 2018, when Flash was like pretty much like gone and over, I found this other way of getting a similar effect, but it's like a richer effect, and it's like more customizable. And I won't say it's better because it's like more involved in the effect itself. It looks a little different, but I can't help but think that if I had found this back when people still used Flash, then it would have mattered a lot more to have made that discovery than making it now. Like, you can almost imagine some kind of like domino effect where someone discovered this thing, and then like that inspired some other guy to find like some related thing, and then you get like all these new little techniques and aesthetic flourishes that there is never going to exist now because there isn't a large population of people trying to outdo each other in Adobe Flash. It's owned by Adobe now, and they like ruined it, but that's what they do. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that as an artist, whenever there's like a shift in the tides and it becomes clear that the art we're doing today, right now, is not the kind of art we'll be doing in the future, you can get kind of nihilistic about things and be like, what's the point of all this? If all of this is going to be replaced with some future technology someday, then like, why bother? And the reason to bother is because the tools we're using right now are only ubiquitous right now. And whatever doesn't get made with these tools at this time, when there are a large number of people making things and like pushing each other to make cool things with the tools and exploring all the possibilities of what the tools can do, whatever doesn't get made right now is not going to exist. And this is especially important at the dawn of a new medium, or a new style, or a new tool, because that's what sets the precedent for everything that comes after it. And the historical impact of that thing will be defined by what is created at that moment that the tool is relevant. So I think we owe it to the future to explore all the potential of our tools very, very thoroughly, and to not just think of our new tools as new ways of achieving the old results, but as the only way of achieving something entirely new that will only exist if we do the work right now to find it. Okay, so I write sometimes as a hobby. I do like nonfiction writing.
Okay.
You you told me something about mining that was really interesting to me, and I wanted to work that into this thing that I was writing, but I couldn't remember all the details exactly, and I just wanted to get
No
it right.
problem. No problem.
So you were telling me about how there's like new technology now that has replaced some of the old ways that I don't know, the old way of work, I guess, when you started, a long time ago. And
Right. Yes.
I was asking you, like, are you sad that the old ways of doing things have been replaced and antiquated, and all the new people coming into it now, they didn't have the same experience that you had. And you said something very interesting to me that it was something about how you could do like big areas quickly, but then there would always be like little pockets of gold, in little crevices or something, and you
Yes.
would need the old methods to do that kind of stuff.
Yes. That's true.
How
Yeah.
how would you phrase that? Like, could you give me a little more
Oh
detail on
my.
that? I guess.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to phrase that, other than that there's always gonna be need for the old way to do it, because the big companies are one thing. They got all the monies, but yet there's still guys out there, say in the Yukon or out around there, like silver mining, at
Yeah.
a very narrow veins, and we used to get paid, like, not myself, but let's say my wife's brother, Sarah's uncle. He
Yeah.
used to work out in there, and they would have to take it. The less wasted rock that they would take, the more money they would get paid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But you're talking about getting knee pads on and going in there with a little drill and drilling the holes and blasting inside of a little tiny crevice. But I'm not quite sure. Like, just gonna have to tell you that there always be a need for that old technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to, other than that, to explain it to you.
No, I mean that's like perfect.